Hey everyone, this is Will, and you're listening to the TeenProLifers podcast. Today we're going to be joined by one of our admin, Aidan, and we're going to be talking about, is abortion really necessary during the coronavirus quarantine? Stay tuned. Hello, Aidan. How are you doing today?
Hello.
So, Aidan, what do you think? Do you think that abortion should be considered a necessary medical procedure during the coronavirus quarantine?
So here's the thing. People are trying to debate whether abortion should be essential, and essential is defined as absolutely necessary by google.com. So I think if we're going to be saying cancer treatment, certain types of cancer treatment are not medically necessary, depending on the patient, we shouldn't be trying to say abortion procedures are essential. I mean, I think cancer is much more needed, or cancer treatment, of course. And according to the Mayo Clinic, it says that providers will review each patient's care needs and determine the medical necessity for each individual. So that's basically saying that you might not be getting cancer treatment, but abortion treatment is still perfectly fine in Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Indiana, New Jersey, Illinois, Oregon, Hawaii, and Virginia. And in Virginia specifically, they're telling people that they shouldn't even be going to the store right now without wearing a mask or taking some serious precautions. So to me, I think we need to redefine how essential abortion is as healthcare.
Right. Like I personally know people, they're sophomores and they're friends of my friends in high school, and they're being denied cancer treatment. Well, the kid is being denied cancer treatment for the first few days. So I don't really see how we're denying people like that treatment when abortion is still going on.
Yeah, I mean, also, basically, the general idea from the World Health Organization is that abortion, and this is from the WHO and the director specifically, is that abortion is perfectly fine and safe and essential during the coronavirus. The world's foremost public health agency has reaffirmed the well-established truth that access to safe abortion is good public health policy that protects the human rights of millions of women globally. That is from the president and CEO of the Center for Reproductive Rights. And I just think that that's really backwards if we're going to say the cancer treatment is not medically necessary. I don't know. I just find that tough to reconcile with. What about you?
Right. I would too.
Yeah.
A lot of stores and small businesses are either having to shut down or readjust the coronavirus quarantine, but there's like abortion clinics are still allowed to remain open.
Yeah. And I don't think that should be the case because abortion is not medically necessary. Either way, we shouldn't be redefining the word essential to allow access for abortion.
Abortion still it's still against people's own human rights, and if we're going to be having the most vulnerable at stake, if we're protecting them at stake during this risk, then I think we should also set that standard for the unborn babies.
Yeah, especially at a time when we are being mindful of our older relatives and those who are at risk, but still continuing to accept the fact that millions of children are being slaughtered every week. I mean, as a society, we need to reaffirm the value of life. To me, that seems like a pretty integral point.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard, but Virginia's Governor Northam, he signed into law the first abortion protections bill in Virginia on Good Friday of last week.
Oh man, I did
during this
hear
whole
about
coronavirus thing. So, how much work do you think is actually getting done, and how much do you think is like why are they still having like these law sessions when we're supposed to be protecting people for the coronavirus? When they're still having sessions like about abortion and stuff like that.
I mean, honestly, I think that we need to make COVID-19 and mitigating that our first priority. We shouldn't be like putting abortion in the forefront and pushing forward laws like that. And I think that that shows the governor's irresponsibility and like his lack of care, really, because he would use coronavirus as a way to push his abortion agenda under the table while people aren't fully focused on it.
Right, like I heard Virginia state senators say that now they're just passing laws. They're not even like reading them that much anymore. Now it's just like as quick as possible so they can get it through while people are still in panic over coronavirus.
Yeah, I mean, public panic is a good way to push an agenda. I mean, I think, hasn't the governor also done some Second Amendment violations?
Yeah, that's
Or
correct.
hasn't he signed off on some laws that would restrict Second Amendment rights during this time as well?
Yeah.
So I think our governors should start prioritizing coronavirus as the number one issue and stop trying to push an agenda and making this political during this time. So if abortion isn't essential, then like what would you define it as?
Um, uh, I don't think I would even define it as a medical procedure because it's not. It's medical procedures are meant to save someone or do something well for their life. When abortion, it just takes away the life of a different human being.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I
if it
think
is a medical procedure, then I think that it would definitely not be essential because it is still harming the life of another human being, even though
mhm.
we have coronavirus to worry about.
Yeah, I think if abortion should be classified as anything, it should be classified as an elective procedure and not an essential procedure. So that would be something that you elect to do or you choose to do, and not something that is essential for you.
Right.
Because really, I think that goes against the idea at its core of what a medical procedure does, because it doesn't help someone; it just harms life. So, at its core, it's inherently non-essential and not really a medical procedure. So, I would agree with you.
Yeah, I think that a lot of abortion companies are going to try and politicize the coronavirus for their own money and power. So I think you all need to be on the lookout and stay
Yeah.
safe and be sure to keep your relatives and all the older folks you know and immunocompromised folks you know. Be sure to keep them safe.
Mm-hmm. So, it looks like in Texas, Ohio, and Alabama, certain judges have already blocked state policies that would seek to restrict abortion and classify it as non-essential. So the Supreme Court basically said that there can be no outright ban on a abortion procedure because regarding a woman's right to pre-fetal viability is important, or abortion in that case. I just don't think that that's logical to any sense. And I guess we just, if abortion is essential, then why isn't cancer treatment really that? I mean, to me, I find that tough to understand.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people they're trying to pretend that they actually like care a lot about the woman to get
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of money and stuff through. And
Yeah.
I think that if the courts are going to do that, then now is the perfect time because no one's going to be listening to that anyways. They can do it behind their backs.
Yeah. But I do think certain bans on abortion, especially during this time, are a good thing because it's not taking away a right, it's saving lives. And that's important to remember.
Of course.
I mean, a lot of people would have you believe that abortion is safe and legal. Or, I mean, safe and essential and important, but at its core, it's uniquely harmful to life. So it's really just a lie.
That's true. Not only are states putting abortion protections on, like the governor of Virginia, but some are actually taking advantage of this to promote our own agenda to ban them, to show that the most vulnerable should really be taken care of. So Aidan's going to tell us about the Texas ban that is trying to be in place.
So the governor of Texas, basically in an executive order, he directed all healthcare professionals to postpone anything that is not immediately medically necessary. That's an executive order. And then the Attorney General issued a press release that said that that prohibition applies to any abortion that is not medically necessary to preserve the life of the mother, which is pretty much every abortion. For being honest, 99% of abortions don't save the life of the mother.
And also, you keep mentioning this. There's the very few cases that it is actually in the case of a mother's life, it's usually ectopic pregnancy. And for ectopic pregnancy, it's different than abortion because you're actually removing a cancer cell. You're not actually taking the baby and then either breaking its spine or sucking it out of a tube.
Yeah. And all the abortions that are left over, excluding ectopic pregnancy, which isn't technically an abortion, are not needed to preserve the life of the mother. So really, Texas just banned all abortions, especially in such a large state. That's a significant thing. So that is good. It's not all bad news. And then in Alaska, they specified healthcare providers are to postpone surgical abortion. So that's another good thing. And the governor of Tennessee suspended all elective and non-urgent procedures. And abortion would fall into that category because it's elective under the Tennessee law. So also the Louisiana Department of Health postponed medical and surgical procedures for 30 days unless they prevent harms from an underlying condition or disease. And the governor of Mississippi required the delay of all non-essential adult elective surgeries. So abortion services are included in that ban. And then, of course, you see states like New Jersey, Virginia, and Washington that have specifically said abortion is A-OK, which, as we discussed earlier, is a really bad thing, especially now.
So how do you think states like Virginia could take a lesson from these abortion bans we're seeing?
So I think that in a large sense, I mean, even if you don't have a objection to abortion, or even if you're just trying to push your own agenda, I mean, come on, this is taking away medical equipment from people who actually need it. And abortion is not necessary. So I think that these states could at least say that, we'll suspend abortions until coronavirus is not a big issue anymore. I think that would be the responsible thing to do for anyone who is suffering from coronavirus and anyone who really needs medical treatment during this time.
That's a good point. I think that a lot of the abortion facilities, the few that are still under full medical background checks, I think they could be used as places for hospital beds if we start to see even more of a rise in this when social distancing starts coming up.
Yeah, I mean, they do have medical equipment in the facility that could help. And again, like masks and things that are being used for abortion procedures could go to coronavirus treatment or facilities, hospitals such as in hotspots like New York, where they're really pressed for masks and ventilators. That's not the biggest reason to ban abortion, but it is there. And I think we need to focus on abortion on coronavirus right now, not abortion.
Right. And I think abortion clinics, they have a lot of useful equipment like masks, you said.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it could be put to a lot better use than taking a child away from mother.
Yeah, agreed. So it is good to see states stepping up and defending life during this time, because that's what we should all be doing right now. It's important to remember that abortion ends a life, and it's not necessary. We need to focus on the main issue at hand, which is the global pandemic that really needs our attention right now. And we need to stay inside, not go out, especially for non-essential things such as abortion, because you are going out and you are being exposed to more people. So that could also increase the spread, especially for a non-essential procedure. That's just irresponsible.
Right. Like it takes, if you breathe in one place, it's going to stay there for 20 minutes if you're inside, and that could be there for the abortion clinics.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you heard, but the CDC actually asked, this was at the beginning of the shutdown, the CDC asked the Santa Barbara authorities to close down Planned Parenthoods for the time being. So how do you think organizations like the WHO can take a lesson from or other organizations dedicated to saving lives?
I think that the WHO, their main focus right now should be combating coronavirus worldwide. And they should see that abortion is only getting in the way of that. It's not helping at all. So I think it would be responsible for the WHO to basically just release a statement saying that abortion is not medically necessary during this time and that it should be put on hold until afterwards. Ideally, we wouldn't even have to be asking these questions, but it's the world we live in. So yeah, I just think that they need to redefine the essentiality of abortion.
I think so too. And I think if we, as a society, go to the neighborliness we're starting to see again, like for example, I was biking on a trail with my friend and I saw this like chalk drawing, like children's chalk, just going on for like a half a mile. So I think if we keep that neighborliness, we could like fight this problem together, and we don't have to rely on other countries and organizations. I think we can fight it as the U.S. should, like as a nation.
Yeah, that's a great point. So that's why I think, especially with taking funding away from the WHO, we need to repurpose that funding and use it to help combat the coronavirus here at home. So I think it would be more responsible to do that.
Yeah, that's certainly true. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to the first episode of the Teen Pro-Lifer podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
And be sure to stay tuned for more episodes. We'll try to do these once a month, and we'll do a short clip of one of these. Once every week, we'll publish one. So be sure to stay tuned to the CDC for updates. Be sure to stay safe, keep your relatives and all those people you know who are immunocompromised safe. And thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.